Welcome to Watch Diary. My name is Ryan Snelling, and on the other side of this Zoom call, I have Brando's replacement, Phil Wilson. What's up, dude?
Later, Brando. I'm back. Hey, it's good to talk to you.
He's shaking in his boots right now. He canceled and bailed on last week's episode of Hot Takes and Sausage, and I texted him. I said, is this because you know that Phil's coming back? He swears it's not, but I haven't heard from him since. So,
sorry to hear it. I wish you were here, Brando. It'd be nice. I don't think I've actually talked to you in person in, 10 years? More? Maybe never?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Brando?
Talking to Brando.
Oh, okay.
You, I know how long it's been.
Yeah. No, Brando is actually good, guys. He's doing something for Jesus, I think. And he'll be back next week on Hot Takes and Sausage. But it's all right. So, Phil, we need to do some time travel and go back almost a decade ago. Even farther than that, actually. Because what the viewers and the audience don't know is that you and I go way back. We became friends in the year 2005. In the fall of 2005, you are one of my...
That sounds right,
Yeah. You're one of my longest friends, and you are arguably the reason why I am a film fan in the first place.
Well, thank you.
Have you thought about that?
Lost?
Anything.
Is that what you're talking about, Lost? Yeah, well, that's true. Because it was... I guess somewhere around that time when I first went off to college, where I started to really fall in love with movies and TV, and then I think I brought that back with me and shared it with you.
Absolutely, you did, and I'm wearing this T-shirt for a reason. It's my Korean Fight Club, and also if you look back here, this movie palette. This movie palette, that is the Film Fight Club on a movie palette. So, guys, if you don't know, I don't know if it is right now, but it was my longest running, number one movie of all time. And Phil Wilson is the person who showed that to me. So, thank you, Phil.
You're welcome. I've actually been meaning to go back and watch it and see if I, still love it as much as I remember. Because it's been a while since I've seen it.
That's a movie that is, as I age, I am attracted to different aspects of the film. I was angry when I was younger, and I think I was really attracted to those anti-authority sort of, non-atheist, non-religion kind of aspects. And I think now it would be more about the anti-capitalism. I don't know. There's so much toxic masculinity discussion all the time in this modern age. So it's such a interesting movie to talk about always, I feel like, but I don't know if I've really assessed how. Anyway, but you're the reason for that and my Lost fandom, which coincidentally today's the 13th anniversary of the Lost finale. And anyway, so all this to say, go ahead.
I was gonna jump in. My wife was actually watching the I think it's called Exo Kitty on Netflix. Does that sound right? Whatever the new TV series on Netflix is, and the actress that plays Sun from Lost appeared in it, and I did the Leo point at the TV, and I pulled up Just Watch, and I was looking where Lost was streaming because I was like, man, maybe I need to rewatch it, and this might push me over the edge, like your Instagram story with Jack.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again.
I did a rewatch of Lost with my roommate Ernesto when I lived in Arizona. I was giving him a pop culture crash course, so we watched a ton of stuff that he had never seen or heard of before, and Lost ended up being, I think, his favorite thing that we watched. So,
oh yeah, he didn't ask any of the forbidden questions, right? Like at the end with what happened with the polar bear?
Well, no, we were talking about it as we went, so
okay,
he probably didn't know, but I probably said things that were already pushing him in the opposite direction. So I think he was kind of just he never went down that path because of me. But anyway, so that was a fun time. But
Oh yeah.
Phil, another thing that our listeners might not know, unless they listen to last week's episode, you were also the reason that I got into podcasting, because we talked about doing a podcast probably a year before we ended up doing it. I mean, do you remember? I have a specific memory of being at your parents' house and we were like looking up and researching what a podcast host even was. And I think it was that company Buzzsprout at the time, which we ended up going.
That sounds right, yeah.
Buzzsprout was one, and then there was another that was like, I think that had the word blue in it. Anyway, we eventually got into like Podbean, RIP Buzzsprout, because I don't know anything about that anymore. But I remember researching like how to even do it, and anyway. But in the fall of 2014, we started Filmbeef, and we did that for almost exactly 2 years, and that was our first ever podcast. And since you and I have been talking about sitting back down for Fast X, I've sort of been revisiting all those episodes, and it's incredible to go back for so many different reasons. First of all, to just revisit the titles and the topics that we were talking about, but we were also talking off air how much easier it is to do this. Like just
right.
Like literally what we're doing right now, a video podcast, which I never in my life ever would have guessed that you would do what we're doing right now, by the way, which is funny. But
I'm branching out, you know?
Yeah, that's good. The fact that I was able to like remaster, and by me, I mean put through an AI, remaster the old episodes, and the fact that it's for some reason just made me so happy. It's made me so happy that our podcast and stuff seems to, I don't know, be given a new life, and that we're doing this now. I don't know if you're feeling that way or not, but I think I don't know. It's almost out of body that this is even happening.
Yeah, it's wild. Because like not too long after we quit podcasting, you know, I appeared on a mutual friend of ours podcast for a while, Jake. And then I actually did a podcast for, I think, about a year or so with a guy named Jordan, and we had a blast with it. I've actually kind of lost touch with him at this point. Our schedules just conflicted so hard and made it like a real challenge to do anything. So, but yeah, I mean, I've tossed around the idea of, you know, trying to podcast on my own, just kind of casually, just to get the thoughts out there. Because I mean, even now, you know, I keep up with Letterboxd.
Hell yeah.
I've got an Excel spreadsheet with like, I think for the past 3 or 4 years of just like, here's the movies, TV, video games I've finished in the year. I'm a big fan of ranking things. So yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts every time I watch something, and this has always been a really good outlet for it. So I'm looking forward to, you know, brushing the dust off and
absolutely
talking a little bit about it.
So for those of you who don't know, and I don't even know if you know this, but the feed that we're speaking on right now was the Schmoes Know podcast feed. And ever since that was gifted to me, it's gone through various iterations. It was Movie House for a while, and then it kind of turned into Watch Diary. And there was also like a massive gap of time where I wasn't recording anything, like peak pandemic. And anyway, all that to say that I kind of hit like a reboot button about a year ago. It was about March of last year. It was whenever Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent came out. And I hit the reboot button and made Watch Diary sort of what it is now. And to do that, I did a re-up of my review of 3 Days to Kill in honor of you and Filmbeef. Did you know that?
I had no idea you did that.
Yeah.
All right. I know what I'm going to do later. I'm going to listen to that.
Yeah, so it's up on the YouTube channel right now, and I talked about how you and I covered that, so that definitely would have been before you and I started talking again and started rekindling our friendship. I mean, yeah, it was like a year ago. So, but I was thinking about how just all the fond memories that I had of podcasting with you even then. So that was sort of a tribute to what we did together. So Film Beef, the very first episode 0, technically, was that review. And the idea when we started Film Beef is I technically just ripped off what the Slash Film podcast was doing, because I just like their template, which is still kind of what I do to this day. You know, shoot the shit at the top, maybe talk about what we're watching, non-spoiler section, spoiler section, just like that traditional movie podcast. And that's sort of what Film Beef became. And when you listen to the 3 Days to Kill episode, once I'm able to post it, when you listen, it's funny how we're talking about, like, you know, it's starting to, like, the streaming thing is starting to pick up and people are written from Redbox more than ever. So we thought it'd be nice to, like, every now and then sprinkle in a Netflix movie or a Redbox movie. So this is what this is, 3 Days to Kill. We got it from Redbox. And God, it's crazy how fast that stuff has aged.
Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. I mean, I guess it has been, oh my God, almost 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know whether we had it better or worse back then, now that I think about it, because seen some rough Netflix movies.
Well, the one thing that we had going for us, and we didn't know it at the time, 2014, the year we started, it was maybe the greatest movie year in the last 10 years. I mean,
it was a very good one.
Edge of Tomorrow, the comic book movies, okay, Winter Soldier, Guardians, Days of Future Past, but we had Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we had Interstellar, we had Edge of Tomorrow, on and on and on it went. Nightcrawler, which I don't know if you remember, that I wanted to ask you what you think has aged the worst in terms of our takes and tastes and things like that. Nightcrawler maybe it was had the biggest jump in my taste, because I think I gave that a medium, and now it's like one of my all-time favorite films.
Yeah, it's that's got to be one for sure, because I was really kind of low on that, and Fury as well, and both of those movies are better than we gave them credit, I think. And I'd have to go back and listen to it, but I'm pretty sure I was kind of down on Fury Road too. Even though that was
like 15, yeah,
and honestly, that was entirely due to how I consumed it the first time. I saw it in Movie Tavern, so I'm sitting there eating, and the sound quality is awful. And until I watched that movie at home with subtitles, a lot of it just went way over my head. I just didn't understand like half of it. Kind of the same way with Dune, truthfully. But that's another one that stands out to me and has for some time. I'm like, man, we we really missed the mark on those.
Yeah, Fury Road, I did not have a good theatrical experience there too. I saw it in our Frankfurt home theater at the time, and the sound was terrible then. And you can't compromise Tom Hardy more than he already is when it comes to being audible. So that was a problem. And guys, for context, so on Film Beef, we had our own rating scale, which was always controversial, and I still to this day consider it genius. But the scale was rare being the most undercooked a movie could be, medium rare. Medium was, like a 5 out of 10, 5-star, or a 3 out of 5 star. And then medium well, and then well done being the most cooked, the most prepared a film could be. And obviously it's controversial because most people don't like well done steak, and I understand that. But for the creativity alone, I have to give us props for continuing that despite all the pushback that we got from, say, Shields and Hecker and Kevin Booth and Jay Williams and all the other naysayers.
I think we nailed it.
I think I gave Fury Road a medium. Yeah.
It was probably a medium for me as well. But yeah, marketing-wise, name-wise, rating scale, knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Yeah.
So let's keep that going a little bit more. Can you think of anything else? I have a couple, and one of them applies to the Fast franchise, but can you think of anything else that might have aged poorly, whether it be our takes on a movie or celebrity status or director status or anything? What has aged terribly since we were together last?
Well, obviously you've got something in mind.
I do. So I think you and I share in this.
Okay.
J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
was flashback to where I was 9 years ago. Pre-Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams was a godsend. We were asking ourselves, is he the next Steven Spielberg or is Christopher Nolan? Like, J.J. Abrams was everything to me. You were a big fan of his as well. I do not give a shit about that guy anymore.
If I got the news that he was directing whatever movie, yeah, I'm not rushing out to see it.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I was already a little shaky on him, and then The Rise of Skywalker kind of sealed the deal. Like, yep, I guess I'm out on this guy, which is a real bummer because this is gonna sound harsher than it actually is, because obviously he's got some talent, but the criticisms of him being just like an imitation of Spielberg, I think were pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And I mean, I appreciate what he's done up until Rise of Skywalker, really. But man, my stock in him just plummeted. I don't care anymore. Like, I'm not seeking out his movies.
Yeah.
God, that's
and the fact that
has aged horrifically.
Yeah, and like think back a couple of years ago when Warner Brothers gave him the overall deal that was worth like $500 million, and the fact that he's done nothing with that, and once Zaslav came in, he just put that on the chopping block. So I don't know where J.J. Abrams is right now, other than obviously Bad Robot, but. And the last reported thing that he was involved with was the Hot Wheels movie.
I didn't even know that was a thing, so
that was like
that's news to me.
That was like over a year ago, and that's what solidified. I was like, no, he really is just a franchise like reboot hack. If he's doing the Hot Wheels movie, and that's all that came out of the Warner Brothers, it's like crazy. All right, I have I have an actress, and it's related to Fast X. Brie Larson.
Okay. Yeah, I thought we would dive in about her.
We can. We can save it for later,
yeah.
But I was just thinking about that. You know, we're talking about Room at this point, Short Term 12, 21 Jump Street, Spectacular Now. Like, Brie Larson was...
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Brie Larson was the it girl, and I was in love with her. It's just all about it. All kinds of stock. But, yeah, crazy how things change. Can you think of anything else?
Oh. Not offhand, other than, like, I'm sure somewhere along the line in those 2 years, like 10 years ago, we've, like, showered some idiot with praise that doesn't deserve it now. But God, man, I haven't even thought about J.J. Abrams in quite some time.
Yeah, he just vanished.
Yeah, I really want to get into Brie Larson and her character at some point, but we can revisit that once we get to that point.
Absolutely. The only other little thought experiment I have is since you and I have not reviewed films or discussed films in about 6.5 years, I figured we'd go back through and see what movies we wish Filmbeef was around for. This was a lot of fun to think. I was thinking about this the other night. Just I couldn't sleep, and I was like, what movies do I wish Filmbeef was around for? That way I could have talked about them, because there were so many Ryan and Phil movies that came out.
It's true.
And so if you want to do this, I have them separated by year. I don't know if you did it that way, but did you just kind of lump them all together or what?
I threw them in a Letterboxd list and then sorted oldest and newest, so they're kind of separated by year.
Okay.
So we had kind of discussed it beforehand, but not shared our list.
Yeah.
So I made sure to leave off like the really obvious ones, like. I mean, even from last year, the Batman and Top Gun Maverick would have been things we would have eaten up. Stuff like Dune would have been an interesting discussion. I'm trying, Infinity War, Endgame, Spider-Man trilogy, like all of
Last
those, we
Jedi.
would have tore them up. The Last Jedi would have been like a 4-hour podcast with like 8 guests, and we would have all been arguing the whole time. So that would have been wonderful.
Absolutely. Let's so again, guys, we finished at the end of summer, beginning of fall of 2016. So we do have a couple of titles in 2016 I just wanted to throw out real quick. 3 of the 4 here I have not seen to this day. And so so I have a lot of these movies around the list, but for 2016 specifically, if you and I were still doing Film Beef, I know for a fact I would have seen them. But because Film Beef wasn't around, I legitimately think I didn't see them. So the first one that is such a Ryan and Phil movie that I have seen, of course, The Accountant. Bro.
I actually haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, The Accountant. Yeah. We would have lost our minds over that movie. You've got to watch that, dude. So
in terms of loving it or like making fun of it?
No, loving it. It's awesome.
Okay.
Dude, it's Gavin, what's his name? Directed The Way Back and Warrior. Gavin. Anyway.
Yeah.
I totally just blanked. But, dude, The Accountant is sick. It's Ben Affleck's Bourne. He's autistic, and he's doing some crazy stuff that you never see him do. John Bernthal. Come on.
Oh, is he in there?
John Bernthal is
he doing this thing with his... He's rubbing his head?
He's going, let me tell you something.
Let me ask you something.
The Accountant is such a Film Beef movie, so you've got to revisit it. All right, 3 more I'll throw out.
All right, let's hear it.
Live by Night. Still haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, I haven't either.
Manchester by the Sea.
I have seen that.
Okay.
We would have just been sad.
That's right.
But yes, that would have been a good Film Beef movie.
And then Assassin's Creed.
I saw it. Do I remember anything from it? No.
Those are good Film Beef.
We would have
movies.
saw it though.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Those are good Film Beef movies though. Those are Ryan and Phil movies, without a doubt. All right, you got any from 2016 that I'm missing?
The only 2016 one that came to mind immediately, partially because I was at work and lazy and didn't want to like dig through release dates in 2016. But I remember watching it on New Year's Eve that year, and it's La La Land. I think that would have been a really interesting discussion. We both love Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, and God, I love that movie. It actually, it's. I'll give it credit as being the thing that kind of like turned me on to musicals, being a movie that like a genre that I could give more of a chance to, I guess.
Right.
Because like, I mean, I still have like the La La Land soundtrack in like my big Spotify shuffle playlist. So I'm a La La Land head.
I am as well. I saw that movie on a date, if you can believe it.
Woo!
Yeah, I know. And tell me why the greatest song on that soundtrack is the one with John Legend and not Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling? That song, I can't think of what it's called. Something Fire. That song is excellent.
Yeah, the one that I think I like the most now is actually the opening number, and the reason for that is when I first like sat down to watch it, because it was one of those situations where I kind of got talked into going by my wife, or well, girlfriend at the time, I guess, or fiance. I don't know. Anywho, the opening number, I was just like, is this what it's gonna be like? Like, I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna have to sit here for 2 hours and hate it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I know like a solid 80% of the words. Like I'm over there like snapping my fingers when it comes on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that one, and then of course the Ryan Gosling like whistling on the dock. That's good stuff.
I need to revisit that film. So if you watch The Accountant, I will rewatch La La Land.
Deal. And then we'll meet back here.
Okay, perfect. 2017. So let me throw out a couple here. I did a trailer reaction to this film, and I thought the trailer balled the fuck out, and I lost my shit. Yesterday was the anniversary of the cast reveal for Universal's Monsterverse. and it was going to begin with Tom Cruise in
The Mummy.
The Mummy. I have not seen that movie to this day, but
You don't need
you and I would have film beefed The Mummy, no doubt.
Absolutely, we would have been there. We're is it controversial to say we're big Tom Cruise guys? I guess it won't be, but anyway, yeah, we're gonna go see whatever Tom Cruise is in.
Yeah.
Just straight up. And The Mummy, just like, that would have been a perfect film beef movie.
Absolutely.
And we would have hated it.
Yeah.
Because it's awful. I went and saw it in theaters, and I couldn't believe that they just like fumbled the bag so hard on a movie franchise.
Kurtzman Orsi, another two filmmakers who have just revealed themselves to be complete hacks.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll have to say, a 2017 movie that jumped out to me immediately as a film beef movie, and I'm almost positive you'll have this on your list. Baby Driver.
You know, I did not put it on the list, but you're right.
Really?
You're right, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have been all over that,
For sure.
I think.
Where's your Ansel Elgort stock nowadays?
I don't even know.
We were making fun of him. Remember the Divergent franchise?
Yeah.
We covered Insurgent on the podcast. It was terrible. We made fun of his running. I probably talked about how I don't think he's a leading man at all. I'm disappointed that he's in West Side Story. But Baby Driver's good.
He was good in West Side Story.
He was good. I just don't like him.
I'll give him credit. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do have 4 more 2017s, but I'll let you go if you want to name one.
Well, let's just throw some out. I got 4 more as well. So I thought that this was an incredible choice. I even texted it to you earlier. The Book of Henry, dude, peak, like right in the middle of Colin Trevorrow, and that would have been the most absurd film to watch leading up to, at the time, him directing episode 9, because the movie's crazy. It's crazy.
Which I haven't seen it, but I know for sure we would have watched it because of the lead up to, I guess now Rise of Skywalker. And I mean, he directed Jurassic World, correct? I don't want to.
The first and third, yes.
That.
First and third.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I loved Jurassic World so much. I think we both did. So we would have been there for it, and then probably I haven't seen the Book of Henry, but I feel like we both would have been just bewildered based on what I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I watched it for the first time a year ago. Once again, the reboot of Watch Diary, because leading up to Dominion, I was doing a movie ranking show called Every Movie Everywhere. So I rewatched or watched every Trevorrow film leading up to Dominion. So I had to put myself through that. But yeah, it's absurd. A few others. The Mother, Darren Aronofsky's Mother, still haven't seen it, but I know that you and I probably would have gone nuts. Maybe the best movie retroactively. I watched this movie last year. Mm-hmm. Bro, Only the Brave. Do you remember that movie? It's the firefighter
remind
movie.
me.
It's,
Yeah.
It's the firefighter movie with Josh Brolin and Taylor Kitsch and Miles Teller. So
I haven't seen that.
Joseph Kosinski directed it. So I was watching it leading up to Top Gun and Spiderhead. And bro, so the movie takes place, it's based on a true story. It takes place near where I lived, outside of Tucson at the time. So it was like a hometown movie that I was watching while I was there. And it's like, I was also like really high on like Americana, like Taylor Sheridan-esque type content at the time. So I was revisiting like Wind River and just going through that phase. I watched that film and cried my ass off sitting in my apartment. Only the Brave might be the best movie that we missed out on in the last 5 years or so, 6 years. It's incredible, dude.
I forgot it existed until just right now.
Well, do you remember there was
to
like
add it to a list? Yeah.
A few months after that, there was like 12 Strong, the Hemsworth movie that was like another, and so it kind of
I remember that. Yeah.
it kind of felt like it was a Gerard Butler like guy movie, but it is way more than that. It is a serious drama, and it's incredible, dude. Only the Brave. Check it out. It's awesome.
Okay, yeah. That's got to be poor marketing then, because I did think it was just like a fireman
It's
action movie.
It's I didn't realize, but where Kaczynski and Miles Teller began their relationship, and so now they've made 3 movies together. Because of course he was in Spiderhead, so it started
right.
It started with Only the Brave. It's Jennifer Connelly as well. That's why Jennifer Connelly is in Maverick, because of Only the Brave. So,
well, thank God for Only the Brave then. It really worked out.
The last one I got, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
David Ayer's Bright. It was like the first big Netflix.
What would have been perfect for Film Beef? Yes.
All right, what you got?
Have you seen it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
It's written by Max Landis. Remember?
Right. Yeah. That's another not aged well.
Yeah.
Situation. Anyway, so I've got 2 kind of, I guess, deeper cuts and then 2 obvious ones. I'll go with the obvious ones first. Blade Runner 2049.
Hell yeah.
An absolute masterpiece. Would have been a well done, S tier movie.
100%.
Yeah. Dunkirk would have been an interesting conversation. We would have 100% watched it and talked about it because it's Nolan.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that setting here today. I walked out of the theater and was like, yeah, it was pretty good. and I think I'm probably still there, but anyway, that's besides the point. Have you heard of a movie called Super Dark Times?
I have not.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember who's in it, because it's an indie movie. It's got a kid named Owen Campbell and Charlie Tahan. Does that ring any bells?
No.
Anywho, it's like the reason why I think it would have worked well on Film Beef is because sometimes we did cover like really random movies like Stretch.
Yeah.
For example. But basically the movie centers around there's these 3 like teenage friends, and there's this incident that occurs involving some light murder, and it's got some like horror elements to it. And it's just this really tense thriller at times, and but it kind of also has like that Stranger Things, Spielberg-esque, like kids in a small town up to things they shouldn't be up to,
right,
type feel to it. You should check it out. Super Dark Times, 2017. That would have been one we would have covered, and I think we would have been singing the praises of it because I've been trying to tell people about it forever. But the other one is a Netflix movie, the Meyerowitz Stories.
Oh, yeah.
New and selected. Because I know for sure that you're a big fan of, like, or maybe not a big fan is the right word, but you would have enjoyed watching a movie with like Adam Sandler and Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman and all those guys.
Especially if it was like promoted as the anti-Adam Sandler movie, if that makes sense. For sure.
Yeah. Which I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's great. It's really good. So I would check that out. But that's all for my 2017s.
Just to move through this a little bit more, I'm going to throw out my entire batch of 2018s and then just pick whatever stands out to you.
Okay.
The Cloverfield Paradox, bro. Annihilation, that's a movie I know that you and I would have argued over because you probably like it and I don't.
I love it, yeah.
Oh, boy. Hurricane Heist. Bro, if Film Beef existed, I know I would have seen Hurricane Heist, but I have not.
Yep, I haven't either, and we would have watched it for sure. Kind of like Moonfall is something we would have covered on Film Beef.
Also, Greenland, even though it was in 2018, we would have watched Greenland with Gerard Butler.
100%, and I haven't watched it because of not doing Film Beef.
Den of Thieves, another Film Beef. Again, I didn't write that down, but speaking of Gerard Butler. Upgrade, American Animals, The Predator, Bad Times at the El Royale, and Overlord, dude.
American Animals was on my list as well.
Hell yeah.
We would have for sure talked about that, and that movie is awesome.
It is.
I'm just realizing how many like probably terrible action movies I've skipped out on because I don't have a reason forcing me to go watch them, even though I'd have a good time talking about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I need to get back on it. But okay, I'm gonna throw out some of mine.
All right.
The movie Searching.
Yeah.
That movie's great.
It is.
I haven't seen the whatever you want to call Missing. But Searching, awesome. A Quiet Place and Honey Boy.
Hell yeah.
Oh, sorry, I moved into 2019. But Honey Boy. I'll go ahead and transition into 2019 for us.
All right.
Honey Boy, Sound of Metal.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We would have been all over that. Those were the two that jumped out there. And then I moved directly into like 2020 and 21 and 22. But yeah.
let me throw out my 19. So,
Okay.
Bro, Glass.
Yep.
By the way, this next movie I'm about to name, when it came to like Filmbeef movies, I think this is the king. So like this was the first thing that popped into my head. Like, if only Filmbeef was around when Triple Frontier came out, dude. Triple Frontier is...
I've seen it.
Yeah, of course. Triple Frontier is Exhibit A for what we would have lost our minds over for Filmbeef, dude. Oh my God. 100% Triple Frontier. Jon Favreau's The Lion King, which is maybe more obvious, but that would have been a great podcast. El Camino.
For sure.
El Camino. And these two are synonymous with each other, maybe a little bit more obvious, but incredible Filmbeef episodes. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Irishman.
Yep. I had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on my list, and I took it off because I was like, maybe that's a little too obvious. But yeah, that discussion would have been really good because I feel like you would have been a little more high on it than I am.
Which one? Hollywood?
On Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah.
No. No, dude.
Yeah. Oh, you're not big on it?
No. I think it's a hang. Like, it's a hang. Like, I can get in the mood and it'll be a movie I put on, but I don't like it. I don't care for it.
All right, we're in agreement there. Yeah. You didn't care for The Irishman either, though, did you?
The Irishman,
and I was all about it.
So here's the thing about that. I don't think the pandemic, and it's not really because of the pandemic, but all of the movies that we got from our prestige directors, I think, ended up being the most underwhelming or maybe the worst movies for me. So like David Fincher's Mank came out. Don't give a shit about that movie. We might talk about Tenet here in a second. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a disappointment. That wasn't pandemic. I was still in Kentucky at the time. But
yeah.
The Irishman. So first of all, just to paint a picture, when I moved to Arizona, and a lot of you might already know this, but I wasn't in an ideal situation, and so I watched The Irishman in an extremely uncomfortable setting and sitting there for 4 hours. First of all, the seat I was sitting in, I was in a living room, and I was sitting, why can't I think of the word? Not parallel. And anyway, so I was sitting like this, watching the TV like this for 4 hours.
You're like perpendicular to
Yes.
the TV.
So uncomfortable, not an ideal situation. I was kind of pissed already that I was in that situation. And so, to be fair, it wasn't the greatest setting for it. But even so, it's not like anything in particular stuck out to me. And so I think you're definitely higher on that film than I am.
That's fair. And I also like Mank. Both of those I really took my time with. Mank, and it legitimately took me 3 tries to get going on it.
Yeah.
And it's because I started and I was like, I don't want to watch anything like this. Turned it off. And I had a second false start. I think something came up and interrupted me. But that third time, once I got past the first like 25 minutes, I was there.
Yeah.
Even though I don't really care at all about like old Hollywood or any of that crap, but it was a good time. Irishman, I was just in the mood for some gangster stuff, so it worked out.
You want to talk about the worst movie year in history, 2020?
Ooh, yeah. I actually didn't see a whole lot of movies, obviously, but there are two that stuck out to me. Um, Palm Springs
Yeah.
would have been just one of those film beef movies we would have geeked out over.
Hell yeah.
And the other one, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, Love and Monsters with Dylan O'Brien.
I have seen that film.
Do you love it?
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
I
good.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really fun movie, and yeah, I mean, it was in my top 5 at the end of the year or something. But I mean, I didn't have that many movies on my list. But
I think it was in my top 10 as well. It was definitely an honorable mention at least. There was another movie that I liked. Did you ever see Kajillionaire?
I didn't. But I remember. I don't know. You may have tweeted it or something, and I saw you talking. You're
Yeah.
really high on it.
That
and
was
actually
yeah. That was an
I put it
unsuspecting
on my
movie.
list because of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet, but that list is huge. So
Yeah, for sure. So my list is worse. So The Hunt, written by Damon Lindelof. Remember that film? Did you ever see that?
no, I did not.
Capone, Josh Trank, dude. Terrible. Did you watch Capone?
No,
It's so bad. It's so bad. Tenet is an abomination.
I hate it.
And speaking of abominations, we finished the year with Wonder Woman 84.
Oh my god, yeah, that was on my initial list before you said to make it a little less obvious. We would have ripped that movie to shreds.
Yes.
Yeah. And real quick about Tenet, if you're gonna make a 3-hour movie that requires 2 watches, you got to make it at least interesting on the first watch.
Oh man.
Because I mean, that's got to be one of the most boring movies I've ever sat through, and I just I don't care. Everyone's so wooden and boring, and no one's doing anything, and it's just confusing for the sake of being confusing. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting irritated by Tenet again.
I have never felt more stupid watching a movie while also getting angry, because I literally just couldn't comprehend what I was watching, but I wasn't impressed by it. I was like, I literally just don't have any. I don't know. I just was never interested or taken away. And I was actively angry watching that film.
100%.
2021, and then we'll speed through 2022, obviously. So,
Sure.
Cherry?
Oh.
Tom Holland, the Russo brothers?
So I didn't actively watch that, but it was in the background while Becca watched it, and I was just like, "What is this movie?" It's super long, and there was just things happening, and everything was real low energy and kind of boring, and I was like, "What is happening here?"
Hey, listen, the Russo brothers, they're hacks, bro. The only good Russo brothers movies are Marvel movies that are made by a committee, that are prevised out the ass, that are written and planned out the ass.
You're not a Gray Man?
The Gray Man is awful. And I consider it a crime against cinema. I really, really do.
It's terrible. Yeah.
So Cherry, Boss Level, bro, Carnahan.
I saw Boss Level.
There's nothing more film beef than Joe Carnahan, man.
That's true. I don't know why we hitched our wagon to that, but yeah, that's our brand right there.
Without Remorse. You remember that film?
I didn't see it, but I do remember it. Yeah.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
So I have not seen this film, but if Film Beef was around, I definitely would have seen Space Jam: A New Legacy with you, and we would have shit all over it probably. The Green Knight, I still have not seen it to this day, but definitely would have if I was with you.
I think our discussion on that would have been not great because the movie ended and I was just staring at the screen like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna spend the next couple hours looking on Reddit and YouTube trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been rough.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, obvious it may be, but that would have been an incredible episode of Film Beef. Where am I? Oh, The Last Duel and The Matrix Resurrections, which I have still not seen, but we definitely would have film beefed The Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah, I have not seen it either, and we definitely would have, and that would have been the only reason I'd watch it.
Yes.
You actually didn't list the two I had. Yeah, Free Guy. I think we would have definitely talked about Free Guy.
Sure.
Which
also the Adam Project.
Yeah, true. How do you feel about those? We'll go on a quick Ryan Reynolds trip.
I think Free Guy is probably a representation of everything that I hate in terms of where cinema is going. And the Adam Project, I think Netflix should be very proud of that film, actually, because it's definitely a better streaming movie to just kind of put on and have fun with, even though it's base level. It's not giving us anything that we haven't seen before. I think his name is Walker Scobell, the kid actor who was in it. I thought he was great.
What a name.
I think that's his name, Walter or Walker Scobell. But anyway, I actually think the Adam Project was an A plus in terms of just like streaming criteria, like just a much better movie to stream, but still not. It would have been a medium on Film Beef, but I give them kudos for doing something interesting.
Yeah, I actually liked them both. Wow. I know Free Guy's dumb, but it was one of those movies I think I just like watched it on the right day, I was in the right mood for it. I also love Jodie Comer. Also in The Last Duel, she's great. Mm-hmm. She's really, really good. Which it's kind of wild that she's in the movie Free Guy. But that I think it's the cover of Mariah Carey at the end of that movie. Excellent. Very good. But yeah, we would have been all over both of those movies, I think.
For sure.
And another one kind of in the same vein, but not exactly. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I haven't seen it.
I think you'd like it. Legitimately, it's it's better than it has any right to be. I'll put it that way. And it's I mentioned it before, but it does have some Spielberginess to it, which is really solid. So I would check that out. I only have 3 2022 releases, but I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting. First up, and I think that this is like you mentioned Triple Frontier. This movie came to mind first to me. Ambulance. With Jake Gyllenhaal, the Michael Bay movie. We would have been all over that.
So let me tell you something. The only way in that I have to that movie, I don't know if you know this because we haven't talked about it.
Sure.
I think the hottest woman on the planet is Isa Gonzalez. Like, okay. I'm a massive, massive fan of hers, and I will see anything she does. However, I knew that I did not want to see that film in theaters because of everything else about it and the vomitous Michael Bay. But it is a Film Beef movie. You're right, 100%.
We would have laughed so hard at the just insanely unnecessary drone shots in that movie, and like the dialogue and Jake Gyllenhaal just hamming it up. God, it was an incredible watch at the theaters. I'm not gonna lie. The other two, one really obvious, one I think kind of obvious too. But The Fabelmans,
hell yeah,
just because it's like, it's Spielberg to a T. The final shot is like probably my favorite scene in any of the movies last year that I watched. Then Hustle with Adam Sandler. And that pretty much wraps up my list of movies I think would have been really good film beef movies where we could have got some good discussion, some headbutting, some making fun of goofy stuff, and then just like geeking out and showering praise over some silly stuff.
All right, a few more to end the list, and then we'll take a break.
All right.
Uncharted, bro.
Yeah.
Movie blows ass. It's terrible.
It's so bad.
It's bad. Ruben Fleischer is a hack.
I thought you were saying that was a movie. I've never heard that.
No, the director. Ruben Fleischer, Gangster Squad, Venom.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a hack.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just a studio guy, just like Louis Leterrier of Fast X. Deep Water, Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. Upset.
I hate that movie.
I took off work for it. I was obsessed, all in on it, all in. It's awful, and I love it. Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion, we would have shit all over.
I have not watched it because our mutual friend Dylan, who's a big, like, one of the biggest Jurassic Park guys, talked about how bad it was, and I was like, okay, well, I'm out. I'm not going to waste 2.5 hours.
It's Rise of Skywalker level for the Jurassic franchise.
Oof, that's rough.
Spiderhead, you and I would have been all over Spiderhead, and
I watched it.
Yeah. The Gray Man, bro. Prey.
I haven't seen Prey.
Dude,
don't yell at me,
dude. Get all over it right now. I feel like I'm the only person that cheerleads this movie. I thought it was incredible. I would have lost my mind over it if we talked about it on the podcast. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is awesome. Have you seen that film?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it.
It's great.
I was all about it.
Perfect. And then the last couple I've got here, Don't Worry, Darling, and that would have been a great podcast.
God.
And finally, and this is a great segue, Black Adam.
I kind of loved it.
Did you know that I walked out of that film?
No. At what point? Was it the
no
skateboard? Clue. Okay.
I have not seen the end of that film. It was probably halfway through. I just said enough, and I walked out.
I had a great time. That movie is absurd and stupid, and I'm here for it. What? You're not a Black Adam guy?
No. I got the metal popcorn tub, though, and I came home with it and just I gave it to Ernesto, and who knows if he still has it, but... Anyway,
I hope he's using it right now.
Do you have any more? Is that the end of that little?
That's it. Like I said, there's a trillion obvious ones that we would have went crazy over and had all kinds of guests for.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and I truly, like I said earlier, I truly did not realize that I was missing out on so much quality, like C-tier action movies that I only watch because of Film Beef.
For sure. I mean,
I miss it.
None of the ones that we put on the list, but we kind of mentioned anyway, like the Den of Thieves and the 12 Strong. I feel like we would have gotten those in there.
For sure. I mean, we saw stuff like Free State of Jones. Like we would have definitely seen Triple Frontier.
Yeah. What was the other one? Oh, last year I didn't put this on the list, but this made me think of you. Beast. Idris Elba taking on that big ass lion. Also, Crawl, the alligator movie. Yeah.